Here's one very interesting question that a lot of people are wondering about. And this question is why there are certain people who seems like whatever they do, whatever they do, they seem to be very successful. They seem to be attract abundance, attract money, attract sales, attract the dream life. And no matter what economy, like what kind of economy is, right? And also there are people who seems like no matter what they do, they keep going through the same experiences over and over and over again. So, like today, I would like to talk about why people, why certain people, they keep get wealthier and more abundant and attract more what they want, and certain people, they just like keep getting stuck or keep getting at the same level where they're at. What are those determining factors? So, hello everybody. So if you're joining me live, say hello in the chat. Let me know where you're joining from. Uh, Let me know. Also, like if something is resonating with you specifically, let me know in the chat. Let me know in the chat. So and also like if you're watching it on the replay, please let me know what resonates with you. Say hello, comment replay if you're watching on the replay. So I would like to know my people who are watching on the replay as well. So again, the problem is why some people keep succeeding no matter what the economy is, because like right now we know that we're in a trust recession. We know that there are a lot of heavy stuff going on, right? And the certain things that I'm going to talk about, I'm totally aware of the systems that we are living in. I'm totally aware of the realities that we're living in, of the harshness of the realities that we're living in. But despite that, I always notice that there are people who will prosper no matter what, and there are people who are not prospering. And sometimes I'm asking myself, like, okay, what do I need to do, to get to that level? So one thing uh, that I personally see in entrepreneurship spaces and self development spaces is and one thing that gets people stuck is when we tie our identity to the actual undesired reality. And when we tie our identity to our actual undesired or desired reality, right? Because like once we identify, like as we have a choice. We have a choice. We can either identify with what we see, and this is why people get stuck. This is why people say, like, well, I'm not well spoken, I'm not good at content, I don't have any skills, or I don't have this, I don't have that, I don't have that. People focusing on lack. And the thing is, the actual reality will never change in your favor. So you have what you want. The actual reality will only change based on the identity that you have. Let me tell you a little story. I was born uh, right before the Soviet Union collapsed. My actual reality was um, in my earlier childhood, the country was collapsing. My first memory was like my mom was a military officer, and my first memory was like the country is actually collapsing. Like there was not a safe space, and it was not safe to go outside, and there was a lot of uncertainty. That was kind of like, and in those early years when like child is developing, right, when we are learning who we are, how we are, that was my memory, that everything is collapsing, everything is crashing, everything is in shambles. Like I don't know the future of my mom's career, because like my mom would, like I would hear conversations in my family that like, hey, we don't know what's going on. um the institutions that were in power, and a lot of my family actually, they were from military, because back then in USSR, if you want to succeed, you either join the army, or you should know people who are better off in the better positions than you, like you will succeed, right? And my mom knew that the only way for her to succeed was join the army. My grandma was also a military officer, and this is like that was pretty much the way. Like either you join the academia, you go the science route, you become a lawyer, you become a doctor, you become a politician, you become the person of influence, and you have to go to school, and in order to go to school, you have to have connections. In order to have connections, you have to be a part of the certain circle, and that was not the actual reality for my family. That was not the actual reality for my family. And also, as I was growing up, I had certain health challenges. I had cleft palate, so this is basically when the roof of your mouth is split in half. So, and that actually causes the defect when a person speaks, right? It causes a defect. So the sound production is defected. The like, what person is saying is unclear. So I had to actually go through two surgeries, and after those surgeries, even still now, people say like, "Hey, like you have an accent, or like your voice sounds in a certain way." That was because of those two surgeries, and my actual reality early on was a child with health challenges, a child who has to go through special education because of my surgery, and even when I transitioned from special education to like more general education, my reality was like, hey, a lot of people say that you probably not gonna go to school, you're probably not gonna go to college because you don't have really good grades, and you have problem with like things like math and things like that. That was the actually reality. But my identity, like, and this is what I'm so grateful for. My identity was always tied to what I want to be. And at a time, my identity was like I wanted to be a therapist. I wanted to be a psychologist because early on, like faith was a big part of my journey, and I started working as a sign language interpreter. But the identity of like helping others, leading others, and later on, right, like after my graduation, I realized that I can't stay in Russia anymore because it was not just the environment where I wanted to be. My identity was that I already moved to another country. I already moved, let's say, to the US, to Canada, to the UK, and I'm already walking. And it was so deep in my soul. It was so deep in my body. And lo and behold, right now I am in the United States. Right, like that was the identity shift. And that was the identity shift. But more importantly, it's really important to know what identity you are adapting on yourself. What identity you are adapting on yourself. Is it your identity that you desire? right? Like this, and is that something made up? And when I say the identity that is made up, it's the identity that you built based on someone else's success. You see someone else is doing something that on the surface looks successful, but it's not your goal, God's calling. This is not your assignment, and you built your identity based on that. And this is why and this is why people are getting stuck, because you adopting a false identity that God has never given to you, that has never been tied to your calling. And it's like an entrepreneurial circle is really easy for us to get swayed and get confused about about who we are and about our whys, because at the beginning we're really like we have this inspirational goals, like why do we want to become, who do we want to serve, how do we want to serve, how do we want to show up, and we're so crystal clear on our calling. But after that we go through a journey, we go through challenges, we go through distractions, we go through coaching programs, educations, and then we might adopt the identity and the goals that are not necessarily ours. And in business, like how tight in business, something might be working for a while, but then after a while you realize you are building a business, you are building a dream that is not yours. And I see uh, again and again and again, people had 7, 8 figure businesses, or say six and 7 figures in revenue, and then they just realize that it is not their identity and it's not who they are. So the answer, the solution to this is actually walking into your God's identity, your identity that comes from your calling. And this is why a lot of entrepreneurs right now, and myself included, like it's really important for us to step into this season when maybe we need a recalibration. And in fact, I personally like to do recalibration in my business, probably every year, just to check if I'm going through to the right direction. Because also, when we see a distraction in our business, when something is not working in our businesses, uh, and when something is not working in our businesses, it's actually invitation to ask ourselves, is it my destiny? Is it my identity? Is it where I want to go? That is the question. So we often get frustrated with challenges when something is not working, but when something is not working is actually an invitation for you. Do you still want to build this business? If when like do you still want to build this career? Do you still want to build this dream? Because guess what? If you have been building a business, a life that is not aligned with your identity, is not aligned who you want to be, then maybe it is an invitation to actually burn everything down and start new. And also, like that kind of reminds me, so right now in Jewish calendar, I'm not Jewish, but I felt like I'm deeply drawn to Kabbalah, and Kabbalah is a Jewish spirituality and relates to Jewish calendar. And in Jewish calendar right now we are in the period called Ben Hametzarim. Ben Hametzarim is a period of 3 weeks of mourning, 3 weeks of, in a way, distraction. So it's when in Kabbalah, how Kabbalists explain it, when we have uncontrollable light coming to earth, but we don't necessarily have the vessel to receive that light. And this is the invitation for us to, like, first of all, ask ourselves, is this the vessel that we want to carry on? Is this the vessel? And the vessel, it can be your abilities, your business, what you have built so far. Is this the business? Is this the vision that you want to carry on? And often we know our call, we call for more, and when we know that we call for more, we're gonna experience the distraction first, the distraction of the vessel that is not serving us, the distraction of the business that is not serving us, the distraction of the identity that is not serving us, and that distraction will be following us until it is demolished absolutely completely, and it's very uncomfortable until we step into the identity, into the path that we meant to be. Even, like, listen, even for my immigration journey, right, like before everything started moving, I like there was a lot of chaos, there was a lot of distraction, there was a lot of resistance. Like every single possible path that I could have taken was literally taken away from me, and that looked like absolute darkness. But after that, I found a way that the path was open up for me in a way that was absolutely not feasible, not visible, and not something that I would never consider. And that was actually the path, but it was not until my vessel was fully ready. The same thing with our dreams, the same thing with our businesses. We're not gonna see the the progress until we're ready. And even when we see the progress, let me tell you another like crazy story. This is why recalibration is so important. By the way, um I do have a recalibration session. It's a 90-minute recalibration session, plus it is 30 days of integration support, either with DMs or voice messages. The link is in the comments, so you can check it out. But what I want to tell you, why recalibration is so important, whether you want to do it with me, whether you want to do it by yourself, whether you want to do it with someone else, why this is important. I had clients who had the revenue that they absolutely desired. And that was something out of this world, something exciting. Picture this: we're working together. We had, like, this is probably our second session, and a person in one single week hits $24,000 in one single week. $24,000 actually, back to back, like, um two deals closed, $24,000 closed. And after that, when a person received the desire, a person who receives the desire, what they were striving for so much, they decided, like, you know what, like, this is not the path I want to take. This is not where I want to go. And they absolutely, like, refunded everybody, decided not to work, not to work in that path after receiving. Let me know what you say in the comments. So, Christine said, interesting topic. Hello, Tracy. Hello, Sarah. Hello, Eugene. Um, when you see roadblocks, how do you interpret them on what you next like? Yeah, Sarah asked really, really good question. When you see a roadblocks, how do you determine what your steps should be? Well, again, it depends kind of on what roadblocks are, like what challenges we are seeing. Kind of what I was saying earlier. Sometimes the roadblocks are our invitation to reevaluate what we want to do. Is it the direction where we want to go? Because often the roadblocks and blockages is actually the divine redirection for us to say, you know what? Like, I don't want to take it. Like, I don't want to take this route. I don't want to take this client. I don't want to, I don't want to go that route. I don't want to go there. I don't want to build that business. I don't want to sell that offer. And it's a redirection. Or oftentimes, a challenge is actually a sign to expand our vessel, depending on the challenge. Because when we check with ourselves, when we pray, when we meditate, like, is that where I want to go? Is this the path? Do I want to get to that destination? Is this in alignment? Is this in my calling? And if the answer is yes, like, okay, the obstacle is absolutely the way. Why am I seeing these obstacles right now? Because these obstacles are absolutely for me to get to my destination as fast as I possibly can and in the best possible way I can actually achieve that goal. And then based on that roadblocks, for example, a lot of entrepreneurs might be facing with either with lead generation or like the sales problem, right? Why is not selling? Maybe it is not selling because you are not showing up at your full capacity, like you are not telling your truth. Maybe it is not selling because you are selling to the wrong people. It's actually redirection for you to go to go to another route. It's either not this offer, or like it's actually, and this is not absolutely what you're trying to do, is absolutely not for you. Either it is not right now or not this way, right? And the challenges that we're experiencing like can show us the same thing with capacity. Another problem or roadblocks that entrepreneurs often face is the capacity, because we're building our business for freedom. We're not building our business to have another 9 to 5 that's like that sack the energy and life out of us. We're building the businesses that will lift us up. And the when we're facing the capacity problem, then it's another invitation for us. Like, first of all, do I want to work at that capacity? And also, how do I create capacity? Do I hire someone? Do I expand my business and I expand my team? How do I expand my business without sacrificing the results? It's actually an invitation for the next level, if you think about it. So every roadblocks, first of all, it is a question. It is an opportunity for us to ask ourselves: Are we realign in alignment and realign ourselves? And if we are, it is the opportunity for us to expand our vessels. Like, this is where God absolutely wants to reveal the light for us, for our lives, for our businesses, so we can go to the next level. Like, how do you take big risk when you have other people you need to take care of? Christine asked. Listen, y'all ask such a wonderful and deep questions. Thank you so much. So this is a really, really good question. Now, one thing, you you can take a big risk when you depend on other people. You can absolutely take a big risk, but also that risk should be calculated, right? Um, and there is a balance. There is a balance between taking a leap of faith and walking in alignment, and walk or and walk, taking a risk that you calculate and actually not put your family in danger. Listen, I have taken big risks that put myself and my family in a very financially uncomfortable position. It happened. So for me, it was a lesson. Like for me, it was a lesson about financial planning, by the way, that I like that one lesson that I learned from it that I need to do prospecting, like financial prospecting, a lot better, and it comes from for to financial literacy as an entrepreneur, but also big risk. For example, when I moved from one country, from Russia to the United States without visa, without money, it was a huge risk. And yes, it was me, um, but also like that was a huge risk, and that was absolutely not safe decision. And I took a calculated risk. I I knew that I knew that I have a few savings, right? Like a little bit of savings, not a whole lot of savings. And I knew that what my plan B was. So sometimes having that plan B, like, okay, I need to invest a certain amount of money right now to get to the next level. Um, you take a leap of faith, you step in the faith, and you say, and if it is a lesson, what am I learning from this lesson? And how do I recover from that lesson? How do I recover from that lesson? And obviously, you don't want to be in the situation when you're taking a risk, as especially when it comes to entrepreneurship. You don't want to put yourself in a situation when your livelihood is in danger. Like, and when I say livelihood, it's like you're making an investment, and if that investment is not working, you're gonna lose your home, you're gonna lose your livelihood, you're not gonna have the money to pay for your essential needs, because this is the kind of triangle, Maslow triangle. Because when you don't have the basic needs to pay for your family, and like like to buy basic needs, then you're not gonna be able to show up in power. You're not gonna be able to show up energetically in the energy of abundance and alignment. You know what I'm saying? And like then it becomes a vicious cycle. Then you know that you in order to make money, you need to sell more. In order to sell more, you need to release the sale. In order to attract what you want, you actually need to like surrender what you want, like what you want to attract, but you cannot surrender it because you're in survival mode. So I would say big risk decisions, yes, but also from the place when your basic needs are covered. Because even if you lose, let's say, $1 million in your business, but your basic needs are covered, like your business might go through severe losses, but that might be the route and the road to huge victories. It might be a huge redirection, and doesn't mean that you will lose your livelihood, right? Like that you will lose your house, food, and the basic needs. It means that you might have to learn a big lesson. Christine, I hope that it makes sense and that it makes sense. Let me know in the comments. Jay said 24K in the week is pretty good. Sometimes it's not about the money, but outcome that uh important for the person. Jay, you know what? So, like it is so common when people arrive, finally arrive to the destination, they just realize they're going after the wrong destination. We hit like the and that was $24,000 a week. That was absolutely possible reality for that client. It was not a fluke. It was like, hey, I can make 24K, even more, just like that. Connect with the right people, a couple of sales calls, just like that. That was actual reality. And when my client arrived, like, you know what? I'd rather partner with a big corporation when I can actually work as an entrepreneur inside of the company and help small startups inside of the company to build something that they like, that they want to build. I'm not going to go into details, but like that was actually kind of the dream, building personal brand and working with a more secure environment. And also, like, we had a conversation like, hey, this is what you wanted. Like, this is like, you will hit your revenue. Because, like, when we started, we had a certain number in place. So, like, so listen, in like, literally in few months, you're going to hit your revenue. And you are making you're making the ceiling your floor, like, as of right now. And she said, you know what? I just don't want it. Like, it sounds really good. It sounds really tempting, but I just like I just don't want it. So Christy said, yeah, it makes sense. I think many people are paralyzed by this and just want security. And it's about pushing through the fear, which is scary. Yes, pushing. Listen, the when I am in this situation, pushing through the fear, and for me, the fear was releasing the stable source of income that was not in alignment for me. And in the past, that worked for me really well. And I used that data. It was data-based decision. Like, okay, it's like in 2023, it worked for me well. In 2024, it will work for me as well. Sure, I don't need this. And then it backfired. But it was a lesson, right? Pushing through fear is actually the signal and the sign that you're expanding your vessel to receive more light. Like, one thing that when I pushed through fear personally was when I secured one client, right? Like, I started my business, I secured one client, and I got laid off. And that was a point for me of panic, because I really wanted to build my business. I really wanted to be here. And also, I didn't have the whole skills. Like, I landed just one client. It was barely validated offer. And I was talking to my coach. This is why it is so important to have the right type of support, y'all. I had one-on-one coach, and I reached out to her and I asked Keisha, listen, I got laid off and I just got one client, and I don't know, like, I don't know what to do. And my coach, my one-on-one coach, she was a career coach, by the way, and HR specialist. I'm like, maybe we should switch our attention. Maybe we should switch, like, maybe we should focus on career coaching instead of business coaching. But my coach said, you know what, you should do both. And when I started landing more clients, I landed another job and I got fired from that job. Like, it was crazy. Not I mean, it was an honest mistake, but like, that was something that could have been figured out 100%. And after that, my coach said, you know what, you should lean into the unknown, into hard, and you should focus on your business completely 100% full time. It's not easy. It will never get easy. Like, these are the words that my coach said. She said it will never get easy for you. It will never get comfortable. In fact, when it get comfortable, you should look for an opportunity to be uncomfortable. And she's right. Um, it It kind of got easier. Like the reps are getting easier, but like, well, the reps are getting simpler. Like you learn the systems, you learn the skills, you learn the mastery, but it actually doesn't get easier. At the each level, we have certain difficulties, certain like, but again, it's all tied to our identity. When we embrace our identity, that we when we go to the next level, and then we can receive. I personally don't believe in the law of attraction. I believe in the law of creation because God has created perfectly, abundantly everything that we need to fulfill our destination through our desires, through our ambition, through our skill set. All we need to do is just expand the vessel to receive. That's what I believe. Like you are not attracting anything. You are actually coming home to your alignment and to your assignment that you already have. And all you need to do is just expand your vessel and receive what is already yours. Claim what is already yours. Through spiritual work, through skill set work, through connection work, through alignment work, and receive that. Listen, thank you so much for such wonderful questions, for such wonderful engagement. Thank you, LinkedIn. Thank you, everybody who came. I do have 90-minute realignment session. It's one-on-one session with me. It is $555. It's how I came out with the recalibration session. First of all, it actually came out from my onboarding sessions with my clients because a lot of the time after my onboarding sessions, my clients knew exactly what to do. They knew exactly what steps they need to take in. We either we're working on that strategy how to move forward, or like they're already gotten, like for example, like that client who got 24K, right? Like literally after our onboarding session and second session, when we did a few changes, right? She landed two clients, two contracts in the same week. um that's how the recalibration session was born, because I personally have many times in this situation when, well, before I invest into something more long term, I would like to have a like really deep recalibration consultation that I can actually receive the next steps, receive the first result, or I just need to ask a question. I just need to pick a brain, someone's brain, or have like really deep consultation that is not a sales call. Like I don't want to be on another sales call when I'm trying to solve my problem. I'd rather pay for the call, solve a problem, get an answer that I have in my business, or like in my situation, like either when it comes to alignment, whether it comes to like the next steps. And by the way, also like what I'm using in my approach, I'm using of course strategy, but I combine spiritual psychology and the business strategy, because I'm a strategist at heart, but also I have background in clinical psychology, and I do believe that um, we are achieving our abundance, we are achieving our transformation not by the strategy alone, but when we make integrated decision, when we make our decisions based on our alignment, and when our dreams and our offers align with who we meant to be, because any strategy can work. But until we step into that identity, who we need to become to receive the blessings that we desire, it doesn't matter what strategy you implement, it won't work. But when you adopt the identity, when you step into the identity of the next elevation that you're created for, then you will gain clarity exactly what to do in order to have exactly what you desire, in order to have the vessel that you need to receive the blessing that you truly meant for. All right. Thank you so much for everybody for joining. Amazing conversation, really great energy. Thank you so much, LinkedIn. Thank you so much, IG. Thank you so much, YouTube, for your participation. And I will see you next week. Join me live next week. All right. Bye, y'all.